I was raised to believe people should treat each other right, but a lot of times they don't. Why won't you take care of your customer?
What part of your job's done didn't you understand?
Well, see, because you don't tell me my job's done.
They'll lie, cheat, and steal from you.
You're legally responsible for this. You cash the check.
They think nobody cares.
Okay, turn the camera off right now.
I care, and that's why I go inside investigations. Welcome to the great outdoors. Every year, more than 40 million Americans go camping. Some opt for tents, others for RVs. But either way, the purpose is the same: to explore nature and escape the rat race. But unfortunately, sometimes the rats seem to find their way in. What you're watching is two guys rummaging through somebody's RV, unaware they're being monitored by a hidden security camera.
So I decided to hit record so I can start recording what's going on. And I see the gentleman go through everything. Everything. The oven, the cabinets, lifting up our mattress, going in our personal belongings.
Dominic and Pamela keep their RV parked at a campground about 60 miles away from their home, but they can keep an eye on it remotely with their security system.
It's about 11 o'clock and my phone keeps going off that our camera is having a motion detection.
Detecting this, a father and son team who work for the RV repair company hired by the Burtons to fix their broken water heater, which is accessed outside the camper. But that didn't stop the workers from going inside and allegedly stealing the Burton stuff.
And when the gentleman went into the bathroom, they apparently took my grandmother's diamonds that she gave me, that I've had for over 20 years, and my Mother's Day bracelet that my mother gave me.
Thanks to the video, it was easy to identify, then arrest the two men. They bonded out, and guess what? Their boss put them right back to work. So we went to Mountain RV to find out why.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, are you Steve?
Yeah.
Steve, Dale Cardwell. How are you?
I'm good, buddy. How about yourself?
Great.
Stephen Tallman is the owner of Mountain RV.
I'd like to find out why you would keep these guys on your payroll and let them go out and possibly steal from other people.
Well, they didn't, until they are proven guilty, I don't want to do anything.
You're not going to suspend them?
No, I wrote them up.
The employees deny doing anything wrong, but listen as they try to explain to their boss what they're doing inside the RV and get the message that the owners had been watching them the entire time.
I ain't going through nothing. I'm just turning the water off. 6 minutes.
Steve says it's hard to find good employees, but if he considers these guys good, what would constitute a bad employee?
Do you feel an obligation to tell your clients when they do go out to do the work, hey, you need to know this, these guys have been arrested, but I'm waiting to see what happens?
No, I don't feel that I'm obligated to do that.
It's disturbing enough that this happened to one couple, but we've discovered that Mountain RV employees have access to hundreds of RVs in dozens of campgrounds across the Southeast.
Oh, it's disgusting. It's an invasion on people like us.
Still to come.
Basically what they saw is us going through some of their stuff.
Hear the suspect in the RV robbery explain what he was really doing inside the motorhome. And later, convenience versus customer service. Find out why the latest car buying hack can be a bigger hassle than it's worth.
The threat of bad publicity on a company depends on good reputation. It seemed to be the only way to get their attention, and you guys did it.
Plus, see how your neighborhood watchdog agency is making it easier for you to protect yourself from scams. Right here when we go inside investigations. Welcome back to Inside Investigations.
We're just kind of checking it out because we're curious. That was it.
Just curious, or was it criminal? Listen to what the RV shakedown suspects say both inside and outside the courtroom to our investigative team. But first,
Imposter scams. People pretending to be someone they're not in order to get your money. It was the #1 fraud in the United States last year. Some of these con artists prey on people of faith, asking for cash under the guise of a higher calling.
I rejoiced because they said to me, we will go up to the house of the Lord.
It's fair to say Nancy Lawrence considers herself a loving member of the flock. But when her priest reached out with a plea to her phone, Nancy admits she was shocked.
Well, I was in Hawaii on vacation with my husband and some friends, and I got the text, and it said that Father Lawrence, first he wanted to know if he could text me. And I'm like, sure, okay, you can text me.
That's when the pressure ramped up.
He was asking me to get a Google Play gift card of $500 for a friend of his who was fighting cancer. And I was just like, okay, that's strange.
Nancy bought some time by explaining her location.
So I said, well, I'm sorry, I'm in Hawaii. I can't help you with this. Then I got 3 more texts. If the person was persistent and said that they needed it now.
That's when Nancy called the church.
I was told that there had been other people who had gotten the same type of text.
People like pewmate Marlon Panther.
I was taking a nap when the text came in, and when I opened up my phone, I saw the text, so my immediate response was, yes, my wife will pick one up.
The reason Marlon Panther was so willing to help? He couldn't say no to who he thought was Father Lawrence.
I think it's because, in the church, we can be very so trusting.
Father Lawrence Santos is credited with saving not only his parishioners, but many people of faith tens of thousands of dollars by getting the word out that the texts are a scam.
I informed the other parishes here in our area, and all the pastors, most of the pastors, received the same text scam, and it's always a pastor's name.
The practice is called SMS phishing or smishing. The fraudsters hijack the priest, rabbi, or pastor's cell phone numbers, then send text requests to thousands of worshipers. And just where do you think they're getting those names?
My guess is from the Queen of Angels website. It has the lectors list, the Eucharistic ministers list, and that contains names, phone numbers, and emails.
The con is successful not only because it tugs at your heart, but because all the scammers need is the numbers off the cards.
They said, pick one up, scratch off the back of the card, and show the pin, and take a picture, and then text it to them. And that was my first clue that something is wrong here.
Marlon ultimately dodged the scam thanks to Father Lawrence's warning.
The Bible says we have to pray for these people. How difficult is that for you?
Of course, the Bible says, okay, so we have to pray for them, we have to forgive them. But of course, they have to stop all these bad things that they are doing.
Marlon Panther had another way of putting it.
I really feel sorry for them because there is a heaven, there is a hell, and they're sure adding up the credits to get to the wrong place.
Up next, from the diabolical to the comical.
I'm disgusted that these guys are still on the streets and that they're still working on people's campers.
Good help is hard to find. That's the reason one business owner refuses to fire his employees, despite this videotaped footage of them rummaging through a customer's RV. Find out what happens when they face a judge. Just ahead on Inside Investigations.
You have both been charged with burglary and theft by taking. Josh Diller, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
I plead not guilty, sir.
Pamela and her boyfriend Dominic are not happy with the outcome of the arraignment for the two men accused of stealing items from their RV. The alleged crime happened in a local campground and is now the buzz of the RV community.
Well, I'm disgusted, and I'm disgusted that these guys are still on the streets and that they're still working on people's campers.
The father and son repairmen are out of jail on bond.
Here they are free to steal from someone else that doesn't have the protection that we had to save our, safeguard our property. And to plead not guilty is just, you'd have to be blind not to see it on video that they actually did what they did.
The suspects were supposed to be fixing the water heater on the outside of the RV. But it's this video inside the camper showing the two workers rummaging through the owner's belongings that led to their arrest. Accused of stealing jewelry, one of the suspects, Stephen Diller, says he had a legit reason for being inside the trailer.
And they said that everything can be done outside. Well, you can't. Anybody in the RV business knows if I turn the water on, to prime the water heater, it's going to go all over the place if there's a leak or a flood. Okay? You got to get the air out of the water heater no matter what, so you got to go inside.
Stephen admits the video shows the duo doing a lot of snooping, but he says he was simply in awe at the personal belongings he saw inside the RV.
So I was like, wow, I never seen nothing like that, so I was checking it out. And I'm like, man, they got more of this stuff in here. They got all kinds of crazy stuff in here. And we were just kind of checking it out because we were curious. That was it.
But if there was so-called crazy stuff inside, as he claims, that's the owner's personal business because the two technicians weren't expected to enter the RV. Stephen tells us that his son Joshua is no longer repairing RVs, and while Stephen is still employed by Mountain RV, rumors about the charges against him are making the rounds of the local campgrounds. His employer contends he's innocent until proven guilty, so there's no problem.
Did you ever check to see if these guys had any kind of criminal record?
No.
And Stephen Diller says he doesn't have a record to check.
I never did anything. My record's clean. Never a misdemeanor, never a felony.
However, public records and a clerk at the Marion County Courthouse in Florida tell a different story, saying Stephen Diller did have a run-in with the law about 20 years ago, and that he pled guilty for obtaining property with a worthless check. So, what are they accused of stealing from the RV?
The earrings were my grandmother's diamonds that she gave me before she passed away 19 years ago. So, it's a family heirloom. I would have liked to have passed down to my daughter.
I don't know what their plans are, why they did it like that, if they lost them or whatever, but I never took anything in my life. Even if I was a thief, there was nothing in there to take. And so the whole thing is shocking, and it's really put a hurting on our whole family.
But Pam and Dominic say the video is just too compelling to ignore.
If I was the business owner, I would have had to fire them the first day. That's my livelihood. That's my livelihood, and that's my business. I wouldn't want to lose that for a couple of guys just saying that they didn't do it when I have it on videotape.
Pamela's belongings have yet to be recovered, and due to the pandemic, this case, along with thousands of other court proceedings throughout the nation, are on hold until further notice.
Just ahead, this could happen to you.
They'd send me a message and it always started out, I hope you're having a great day. And my day was not great at that point in time.
Find out why this man is saying the latest car buying hack is more hassle than it's worth. Just ahead on Inside Investigation.
Welcome back to Inside Investigations. Buying a car shouldn't suck. That's the tagline for the online car buying site Carvana. Touted as the modern alternative to a dealership, internet car shopping is sold as a hassle-free way to buy a car. That was the driving force behind Bill Hudson's decision to purchase his used vehicle online. But when the process hit a bump, he discovered he had chosen convenience over customer service. Pay attention, because this could happen to you. This is not a car dealership showroom, but this quiet neighborhood is where Bill Hudson found his SUV.
Well, I'm bad for researching stuff, so I kept looking at internet at cars that I thought might satisfy me.
He found his GMC Acadia on Carvana. It calls itself the new way to buy a car. You buy it online and get it delivered.
I liked it, I drove it, and so they gave me a temporary tag for 30 days.
The deal didn't go as quickly as Bill had hoped.
The first tag expired after 30 days. Called and got a second one. And they said that's certainly long enough to complete the process of buying the car and getting a tag.
No, it wasn't. Bill never got his tags from the state because Carvana never sent the paperwork. His new SUV went straight into the garage because he couldn't drive it without a tag. He couldn't get answers from Carvana either.
Quite honestly, I'd get irritated every once in a while. They'd send me a message and it always started out, "I hope you're having a great day." And my day was not great at that point in time. A fully paid for car in my garage that I couldn't drive, fully insured that I couldn't drive.
Carvana claims to give you the power to control how you buy a car. Bill felt he had no control over how Carvana handled his problem.
I didn't have an individual to call or deal with. It was a pool of people, and I don't know how big the pool was, but it seemed like it was overflowing with people, all eager to get into the case, all eager to solve it, but it never got solved.
Our team contacted Carvana to help Bill get his tags. After 2 months in limbo, Carvana finally came through.
The threat of bad publicity on a company that depends on good reputation, it seemed to be the only way to get their attention, and you guys did it.
Lesson learned? Many dealerships will offer to handle your new vehicle's registration paperwork. However, it's ultimately up to you to make certain your registration is up to date.
Still to come, see how a nationwide watchdog group is helping consumers stay one step ahead of the bad guy. Find out how you can prevent crime in your communities, right here on Inside Investigations.
Today's technology is allowing scammers and others who practice questionable business tactics to operate just like legitimate businesses. To fight against these cyber trends, a national watchdog organization is adding a new weapon to its arsenal, designed to combat the bad guys before they can rip you off.
Once you get the address, you know, on our Podio, you have the Google view. Right off the bat, we name a nearby landmark. And what's so powerful about it, because they're gonna know you're the expert in the area just by you naming a nearby landmark.
What you're seeing is completely legal. These self-described real estate investors are using internet mapping technology to try to convince people to think they're the best in the biz. But now the Better Business Bureau is using the same real-time technology as a tool to track trickery and scams as they happen.
Better Business Bureau has created this tool to help consumers have an easy-to-use resource to report a scam, get that information out there quickly, and we want to turn this information around and get it out to the public as it's happening in the moment.
Using interactive crowdsourcing applications, the Scam Tracker acts as a heat map, lighting up areas where scams are prevalent, providing information and alerting the public to potential con artists in their own backyard.
If you're concerned about the latest scams happening, you can actually zone in your neighborhood or your county and see what other people are reporting and what scams are happening in the community.
Working with local law enforcement, the BBB monitors the evolution of our nation's most common cons, hoping to educate consumers on what to watch out for.
And what we're really exposing is the scams changing and adapting over time. The best defense against a scam is being aware of the latest scams happening, know about them, and know how to combat them.
And that's what Inside Investigations is all about. Building awareness and, more importantly, helping you solve your toughest consumer problems. Now, an update on the tiny house investigation we showed you last week. 2 years ago, Julie and Boyd Norris bought a tiny house kit from this man, Dave Radis. They paid nearly $24,000 to have it delivered from Georgia and built on their land in Texas, but it never happened. Radis failed to fulfill the contract and refused to return their money. Our Inside Investigations team took on the Norris' cause, helping them to navigate the local legal system and bring Radis to justice.
He is here today. He is here to plead guilty. Admits there is a factual basis for this plea, and we are ready to go forward. My understanding is essentially Mr. Roddy's got into a position of robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Charged with 2 counts of theft by conversion, Radis entered a plea of guilty. His sentence, 10 years probation, as long as he repays the money he stole from the Norrises.
This is at least a step in the right direction, that he is guilty of felonies, but it should be more felonies that he committed that he should be convicted of as well.
Since our investigation, Radis' business, Cocoon Homes, has closed permanently. And if Radis fails to meet his financial obligation to the Norrises, he faces up to 10 years in prison. If you have a consumer problem you can't solve, go to InsideInvestigations.com, fill out a help request form, and send it to us. We could come to your hometown to investigate. Plus, while on our webpage, you'll find behind-the-scenes footage from today's investigations.
There wasn't nothing else in there. Even if I was a thief, there was nothing in there to take.
Also, check out and order a copy of my Consumer Protection Handbook. Don't get scammed, get smart. 7 simple steps to becoming a savvy consumer. Thank you so much for watching today, and we'll see you next time we go Inside Investigations.